This is a world where money has no value. Here, time is everything. If you want to buy something, you have to give a part of your life in exchange for it. Only then can you buy that thing. But in this world, to live a good life, it's also necessary to have time. Because when a person reaches the age of 25, 1 year of time starts on their hand. The moment the countdown hits 0, that person dies instantly. The rich had so much time that they could live for even 1,000 years. The rich had created a separate world for themselves, where they lived a peaceful life. But on the other side, in the ghetto city, the poor people worked day and night to earn time for themselves. Otherwise, their lives would end. Among these poor people lived a boy named Will, who had only 23 hours left on his clock. Will lived with his mother, and because aging stops after 25, his mother was 50 years old, but still looked very young. Today was Will's mother's 50th birthday. To celebrate her birthday, Will had worked overtime the previous night to buy a bottle of champagne. Seeing this, Will's mom became very happy and told Will, "I want to see my grandchildren. Why don't you date a girl?" To this, Will replied, "Who has time for all that?" Will's mom told him that she had to clear the electricity bill and the bank loan by tomorrow. Otherwise, they would be fined. So she said she was leaving and would return by tomorrow night after paying all the bills and loans. She said she only had 3 days of time left. Clearing the electricity bill and the bank loan would take almost all of her time. That's why she told Will to wait for her at the bus stop in the evening so she could take some time from him before her own time ran out. Will said he would reach on time. Before leaving, Will's mom touched his hand and transferred 30 minutes into Will's body so that he could buy himself a good breakfast. After that, they both left for their work. On the way, a small girl came to Will. She gave him a capsule and asked for some of his time. Will smiled and gave the little girl 5 minutes of his life into that capsule, and she left. Here we learn that people can store their time inside a capsule, so they can use or transfer it any time. After this, Will reached the factory for work. Before starting work, he went to get coffee. But he saw that the price of everything had doubled. Where earlier coffee cost 2 minutes, now its price had doubled to 4 minutes. Here, the prices of anything could be raised any time without any announcement. Will felt very bad about this. Compelled, he paid 4 minutes of his life for the coffee and went to work. After a full day of work, at night, Will went to a bar with his friend. Will's friend was a complete alcoholic. He was drunk all the time. Will's friend hinted to Will that a man there was giving everyone free drinks and had a lot of time. When Will looked at that man, he saw many girls surrounding him. When Will saw the man's clock, he noticed that the man had 116 years of time. Will immediately understood that this man was from Greenwich City, because in the ghetto city, people had a maximum of 2 days' time. Will went to the man and warned him that he shouldn't be here. There were thieves around. They would kill him and steal his time, so he should leave quickly. But the man didn't take Will seriously and ignored him and continued drinking. Just then, a gangster named Fortis entered the bar with his group. Seeing them, everyone ran out in fear. They were the biggest goons in the city who forcibly stole people's time. Will's friend tried to drag him out, but Will refused and hid in a corner to watch everything. Fortis had come to rob all the time from that rich man. Fortis challenged the man to an arm wrestling time fight, where the loser must give all his time to the winner. This time fight was like arm wrestling. The two people held each other's wrists. The one whose wrist went down would start losing time, and that time would transfer into the hand of the person whose wrist stayed up. The winner stored all the loser's time in his body, killing him. Fortis asked the man if he was ready. The rich man said he had drunk too much and needed some time before accepting the challenge. Fortis agreed and gave him a few minutes to prepare, sending one of his men with him to ensure he didn't run away. The rich man went to the bathroom and started vomiting because he was too drunk. In this state, he would surely lose the arm fight against Fortis. Just then, Will entered. He knocked out Fortis's man and took the rich man out, saving him and bringing him to a safe place. Will told the rich man that he had warned him his life was in danger. "Why are you deliberately wasting your time?" The man told Will his name was Henry and asked Will his age. Will said 28 years. Henry said, "I'm 105 years old and I'm tired of living. I've enjoyed everything in life and now I don't need this life anymore. I don't want to live." Hearing this shocked Will. He asked what Henry meant. Henry said, "Looks like you are still unaware of the truth." Henry then explained why different time zones existed, why prices and taxes suddenly increase in the ghettos. Inflation is raised intentionally so poor people die, and their deaths benefit the rich people of the Greenwich time zone. This entire system was created by them. Think about it. They have thousands of years to live, but here in the ghettos, you people work daily just to survive. They force you to live like this. They never want to give you more time so that you remain desperate and keep working for them. They increase inflation so you spend more and more time, and with your time, they live forever. They have collected every day of their life from the deaths of poor people, and I don't want to live a life that is built on the death of helpless people. Hearing all this, Will realized Henry was a very noble person. Henry asked Will what he would do if he had as much time as Henry. Will smiled and said, "First of all, I would stop checking my time again and again." Because Will still had only 18 hours. He checked his clock while sleeping, waking, eating, all the time, fearing the possibility that his time could run out any moment and he could die. Will said his mom worked very hard to manage the house. "If I had as much time as you, I would buy a good house in Greenwich City for my mom, and we both would live happily there." Will told Henry that tonight they should stay there. By morning, the danger would be gone, and then Henry could return home. Both went to sleep. In the morning, Henry saw that Will was still sleeping. Henry approached Will and transferred all his remaining time to Will, leaving just a few minutes for himself. Then he went to a bridge and sat there. When Will woke up, Henry was gone. As usual, Will checked his clock and saw that 116 years had been added. He was shocked and thought he was dreaming. Then he noticed a message on the window. "Don't waste my time." He realized Henry had given him all his time. Will saw Henry sitting far away at the edge of the bridge. Will ran toward him, but it was too late. Henry had only a few seconds left, and he died instantly and fell into the water. Will was heartbroken by Henry's death. Now Will had 116 years of life. He realized that if he stayed here, people would think he had killed Henry. So Will went to his friend. His friend was shocked to see so much time on Will's hand. Will gave his friend 10 years out of friendship. His friend thanked him from the bottom of his heart. Will said he couldn't stay here because anyone could kill him and steal his time. "Now I can buy a good house for my mom in Greenwich City and live a safe life." Will said goodbye and left. He went straight to the bus stop to wait for his mom, where she had told him she would be after clearing the bills. On the other side, Will's mom had paid all the bills and loans and boarded a bus to return home. But she found out that within a single day, bus fares had doubled. Earlier, the fare was 1 hour. Now it was 2 hours. Will's mom panicked because she had only 1.5 hours left. She begged the bus driver, saying her son would give her the remaining time at the next stop. But the driver refused and said that if she didn't have enough time, she should walk. But Will's mom knew the next stop was far away. It would take her 2 hours to walk, and she didn't have that much time. She asked the other passengers for help, but no one helped her. The bus left. Now Rachel, Will's mom, had very little time left. She started running home. Meanwhile, Will was waiting at the bus stop with flowers to celebrate his mom's birthday. When the bus arrived, many passengers got off, but Will's mom wasn't among them. Will panicked and realized she must be in trouble. He started running to find her. Rachel had only a few minutes left. She knocked on car windows and people's doors begging for time, but no one helped. As Will ran ahead, he finally saw his mother running toward him. Seeing her running, he understood she was almost out of time. He stretched out his hand and ran toward her. Rachel now had only 10 seconds left. She also ran toward Will with all her strength. But just as she reached Will, her time ended and she died in his arms. Will was devastated. He screamed and cried endlessly. By the next morning, Henry's dead body had been found by the timekeepers. Timekeepers were like police in this world. Their job was also to stop crime. Timekeeper Officer Raymond investigated the area, but found no clues. Then he noticed a CCTV camera near the bridge and went to check the footage. Meanwhile, Will realized that the rich people of Greenwich were responsible for his mother's death. They had pushed the people of the ghetto into a life where every second mattered. Will decided to take revenge and headed toward Greenwich City. Entering Greenwich cost him 1 year of time. He reached Greenwich City. When he saw the lifestyle of the rich, his eyes widened. The rich had so much time that they had forgotten the meaning of death. Even the bodyguards had more than 100 years. Will was furious because in his city, people had only 24 hours to live. Will checked into an expensive hotel. While eating, a beautiful girl saw him. She seemed to like him. Meanwhile, timekeeper Raymond was checking the CCTV footage. He saw Will near the bridge at the time of Henry's death. Though the camera didn't record Henry falling, Ray saw Will standing there. He became suspicious and ordered his team to gather information on Will. They learned that a man named Will had entered Greenwich after spending a large amount of time. Raymond now believed Will had killed Henry, so he headed for Greenwich with his team. In Greenwich, Will walked into a casino where rich people were playing poker. Will sat down to play. The rich people laughed at the newcomer, but Will was skilled at gambling. This was his best chance to win money from the rich. Will played against a wealthy man named Philippe, the richest person in the city, owner of a time bank that lent time on interest. Philippe's daughter Sylvia sat beside him, the same girl who had noticed Will earlier. When the game started, Will bet all his time, and using his intelligence, he won 1,100 years from Philippe. Sylvia was very impressed by Will and invited him to their home party the next night. The next evening, Will bought a brand new car and went to Philippe's party. During the party, Will and Sylvia danced, and Sylvia fell for him. She was about to confess her feelings when timekeeper Raymond arrived with his team and arrested Will. Sylvia was angry at Will, thinking he was a murderer. Raymond first confiscated all of Will's time except 2 hours. Then he began arresting him for Henry's murder. Raymond asked why he killed Henry. Will said he didn't kill him. Henry gave him 116 years and then killed himself. But Raymond didn't believe him. Will realized that Raymond wanted to frame him so he could be jailed for life. So Will seized the opportunity, knocked down Raymond's men, freed himself, grabbed a gun, and took Sylvia hostage. Using her as a shield, he escaped and tricked Raymond's team, reaching the ghetto city with Sylvia. During this, Will had very little time left. He asked Sylvia for some time, but she refused. She still thought he was Henry's killer. So Will drove faster toward the ghetto to borrow time from someone. In the hurry, he didn't notice spikes placed on the road. Will's car hit the spikes and fell off a bridge. Both Will and Sylvia were knocked unconscious. The spikes were placed by Fortis and his gang. Fortis saw Sylvia had 10 years and stole all her time. Will and Sylvia woke up after some time. Sylvia looked at her clock and panicked. She had only 30 minutes left. Will also had only a few minutes left. Will still gave Sylvia some of his time, so their time became equal. Will took Sylvia to his friend's house, the one he had given 10 years to earlier. When the friend's wife opened the door and saw Will, she angrily told him, "Those 10 years you gave killed my husband. He wasted all the time on alcohol and died." Hearing this, Will felt sad, but they still had very little time left. If they didn't act fast, both would die. Will noticed Sylvia's diamond earrings. He sold them and got 2 days of time for the two of them. Then Will took Sylvia to a phone booth. He called Philippe and told him Sylvia was safe. Raymond was also with Philippe at the time. Will knew this. Will demanded 10,000 years in exchange for Sylvia, and he wanted Philippe to distribute those 10,000 years among the poor through his time bank by the next morning. Though this amount was nothing for Philippe, he refused to give time to the poor at any cost. Meanwhile, Will took Sylvia to his home. They waited for morning. Sylvia asked about Will's family. Will told her his mother had died the previous night due to a lack of time. Sylvia felt terrible. She realized how the poor lived in fear of death every moment, and how hard they had to work for even 1 day of time. The next morning, Will and Sylvia watched the bank through the window, but the bank didn't distribute time among the poor. Sylvia was heartbroken. Her father didn't value even his own daughter's life compared to time. Sylvia now understood that her father wasn't just a businessman. He was the head of this entire system. He lived off the deaths of the poor. Seeing Sylvia upset, Will decided to send her home. He took her to the phone booth and told her to call her father for help. Will even gave her a weapon for protection. As Sylvia talked to her father, timekeeper Raymond secretly arrived and pointed a gun at Will. Raymond was about to shoot when Sylvia saw him and panicked, firing her gun and hitting Raymond's arm. Blood was pouring out. Will checked Raymond's clock. He had only 2 hours left. Timekeepers also received only 1 day of time every day as salary. Will knew Raymond would die from blood loss long before backup arrived. So Will gave Raymond 2 hours of time and took Raymond's car and escaped with Sylvia. By shooting Raymond, Sylvia had now also come into the crime list. However, Will told Sylvia that she could still get out of all this. But in Greenwich, Sylvia's life was like a bird locked in a cage. Her father, Philip, had put many restrictions on her. But after coming here, she was feeling freedom. Because here she was, the owner of her own will. And Sylvia understood that wrong was happening with people here. Now she was also with Will to give the poor their rights. Will and Sylvia together started robbing the rich. Sylvia, who knew every corner of Greenwich City, so both of them made a plan that they would steal time capsules from the banks in Greenwich City and distribute them to the poor. Sylvia first robbed many banks of her father Philip because Philip had collected all that time from the deaths of the poor. Both of them packed all the time capsules from the vault in a bag and left from there and started distributing them among the poor. After committing such a big robbery, the government was also fed up with both of them. That's why the government put a reward of 10 years of time on their heads. As soon as Gangster Fortis heard this news, he started looking for both of them like a dog. But Will and Sylvia changed their hideout every day, because of which no one could catch them. These two were hiding in a hotel. They didn't have any shortage of time, so they had booked the entire hotel. Fortis, in search of both of them, reached outside that hotel. There, he caught some people and began asking them about Will and Sylvia. But those people were very grateful to Will and Sylvia. So these people were ready to die, but not ready to tell the hideout of Will and Sylvia. But when Fortis forced and pressured those people too much, one man, out of fear of death, told Fortis about the hotel where Will and Sylvia were hiding. After which, Fortis immediately reached there with his gang and caught both of them. Now it was impossible for Will and Sylvia to escape from them. Fortis made Will sit on a table and challenged him for a time fight. Will understood that if he refused the challenge, Fortis's gang members would kill him. So why not test strength with him today? Fortis and Will held each other's wrists and the game of death started. Fortis was an expert player. He pushed Will's hand down at the beginning itself, because of which Will's time started transferring rapidly into Fortis. But Will was putting no effort at all, as if he was deliberately losing. But when Will had only 3 to 4 seconds of his life left, then Will showed his power, and with one jerk, pushed Fortis's hand down. Fortis's eyes remained wide open. He was trying his best to pull his hand up, but in front of Will's strength, he had become weak. Seeing this, Fortis's men's attention went to Fortis's clock. Now their boss was about to die. In the meantime, getting the chance, Will took out a gun from his shoe, and in the blink of an eye shot all of Fortis's men, because if he didn't do this, they would have killed him. With this, Fortis's time became 0, and he also died. Will and Sylvia quickly ran away from there. Meanwhile, they saw that the rich H had turned the whole game around. Whatever time Will and Sylvia had distributed among the poor had no value left now, because the rich had increased the inflation rate many times. Seeing this, Will started feeling defeated and felt that he would never be able to give the poor their rights. He told Sylvia that now everything was over. Even if they distributed 1,000 years among the people, the rich would increase inflation even more, due to which people's condition would never
improve. Sylvia said that there must be some way. To this, Will said that we would have to steal millions of years and give them to these people. Only then could we control inflation. Although this was not so easy, Sylvia had already thought of a plan for this. The next morning when Philip reached the office with his bodyguards, Sylvia came there and told her father that she wanted to surrender. Then all the guards pointed guns at Sylvia. But then from behind, Will, who was hiding in the guard's base, arrived there. He put the gun on Philip's head and got the locker door opened through him. Will and Sylvia stole a time capsule from Philip's locker in which 10 million years of time was present. Every single year of this time capsule had come from the deaths of the poor. Will and Sylvia ran away with that time capsule. When Raymond came to know about this, he immediately started chasing Will and Sylvia. When Raymond looked at the clock on his hand, he had less than 1 hour of time left. He called the headquarters and said, "Send my salary in capsules. I have less time." But before he could transfer the time from the capsule into his body, he saw Will's car, and without transferring the time from the capsule into his body, he chased after them. Because if those 10 million years reached the poor, then every person in the ghetto time zone would become immortal, and the entire system created by the rich would be destroyed. Raymond used his full power to catch Will and Sylvia, but he could not stop them. Will and Sylvia fooled Raymond and reached the ghetto city and handed over the time capsule into the hands of a little girl. They knew Raymond would directly reach the ghetto after them, so they left that place and went to a deserted area. There they had distributed millions of years among the people of the ghetto city and made them immortal. But for themselves, both had very little time left. Unfortunately, at the same moment, Raymond caught them. Raymond threatened and said, "If you love your life, return all the stolen time." Then Will showed him the time left on his clock. Will and Sylvia had only a few minutes left. Will told Raymond, "Did you forget something? Remember when you were about to die? I had given you some time. You should return that time to me." Hearing this, Raymond remembered that in the hurry of catching Will and Sylvia, he didn't pay attention to his own time. When he looked at his clock, he had only 5 seconds left, which quickly became 0 and Raymond died. Will and Sylvia survived Raymond, but both had only 1 minute left. On top of that, in that deserted place, there was no one to help them. They could clearly see their death. Both hugged each other sadly, and then Will saw Raymond's car. Will immediately ran towards the car, and reaching there, he transferred Raymond's salary time into his own clock. After this, he ran towards Sylvia to give her time. Sylvia was also running fast. This moment was exactly like the moment when Will had lost his mother. Will had lost his mother, but he did not want to lose Sylvia. Will was very close to Sylvia, but then Sylvia fell into Will's arms. Luckily, Will caught Sylvia's hand at the right time, which saved her life. Because of Will and Sylvia, now all the people of Dayton City had become immortal. Now they did not need to work in factories to earn a few hours. They all set out toward Greenwich City to fulfill their dreams, due to which the entire system created by the rich failed. And with this, the story ends.